Alright, so guys, networking, connecting. The other networking thing, of course, which a few people have joined, but not too many. Class Facebook group. Maybe the settings when I first set it up were not appropriate in terms of being able to find the group, but that's the name of it. Dippies, Semester 2, 2015. We've got a few people in there, what, 6? But try just searching up in your Facebook search box and join it, because you know, if somebody finds a bit of information, like you guys have been talking about Cleveland or whatever, had a great time at Cleveland, you know, you can swap this kind of information, things that work for you in terms of, you know, groups, outings, excursions, whatever, and just further exchange. And articles that are interesting, whatever, we can use it in any way people want. It would be good to get it working well by this stage of the course. And it'll stay open, and people, in fact one group from 3 years ago is meeting up in September. They're having a reunion, and most of the people are getting together, so it's something you can use for that kind of thing if you like as well.
What is in it?
Dippies, so diploma, Dippies, Semester 2, 2015.
If I haven't got Facebook account, I have to open an account.
You'd need to open an account, that's right. I would recommend Facebook because, you know, you can get a lot of, depending on who you connect with, but you can get a lot of your best news articles and stories and so on through Facebook. I'd say it's the main way that I keep up with the news. Just looking what's on my feed.
Semester 2, 2015. 2015.
You know, stuff comes around for me. Jacobin magazine, a really, really good magazine of the left globally, and it's got some of the best articles about history and so on. Fred Hampton is a black power activist in the 60s. There's obviously an article about him there. Donald Trump's hair discovered crawling in the Amazon. There you go. You know, all sorts. Here's my very good friend Michael posting on Turkey and the US and ISIS. You know, depending on who you connect with, you can get some pretty... Like, for example, last Friday in Melbourne, the Border Force operation. Do you know about that? The attempts of the Australian Border Force to stop people in the streets and ask them about visa, and then there was the protest, and then there was, you know, the reaction and so on. There's been all sorts of stuff going around Facebook on that. So Facebook can be used very seriously for keeping up to date with, you know, somebody sent a science video through there, Oliver Sacks, kind of interesting. I'd say it absolutely depends on who you connected with. You can use it for kind of rubbish, but you can use it for a more serious purpose as well. There he is. Look, there's Bernie Sanders. I mean, the way I learned about Bernie Sanders, the guy I was talking about in the US, the reason I learned about him was absolutely through Facebook. It's a great tool. There you go, Japanese protests. It's good to me. David Palmer, he's an academic from Flinders Uni, now living in Melbourne. He posts really good stuff about international and national news. So it's a great way to keep up. A lot of people post stuff in the ABC around. So yeah, I'd recommend Facebook as a way of reading, listening. I mean, listen to Bernie Sanders or whoever, you know. It's all good language practice if you know. You could easily, many of you have Facebook name in your native language, create another one just for English. Have another English identity and link with English speakers and use it for, you know, listening, reading, and later we'll talk about writing, how you use Facebook for writing. It's one of the best vehicles, instruments for writing. You can write quite long opinion pieces and put them out there to real audiences, see what you get back. You know. We won't do that today, but it's something I do want to point out to you. We never write better than when we write to real people, you know, and especially when it's public. And you know, you could read that, say if it's about your native country or something you feel strongly about, write a little opinion piece, post it out there, see what happens, see how people respond. You know, doing real tasks with writing, that's how we learn best. And there are not many opportunities to do real writing, but with Facebook, we've got a real possibility. You can do it every day if you wanted to. Write 100, 200 words. Be really, that'd be your best writing practice you can do, I'd say. Write to the real audience out there. We've never really had that resource until now. But yeah, so Facebook, pretty important and useful.
John, I didn't find semester 2. I found semester 1.
Right. Well, I don't know why people aren't finding that, because some people are. Let's see who's in there. Some people have joined.
Semester 2?
Semester 2, 2015. So we got a couple of past students. They're past students. Then we've got Tommy. You're in there.
Yes.
Ilhani's in there. James and Nancy. Okay, how did you guys do it? What's your secret?
I couldn't find, and I joined with Tommy, and then I found.
Ah, okay.
Yes, everyone become friends with me.
So everybody friend Hitomi, and then you'll be able to, yeah.
That's what
Well,
I
the other thing, you know,
because I couldn't
you
find
know,
it.
you're most welcome to friend me, and that's my
Ah,
symbol.
yeah.
There's a million John Rices in the world, but there's probably only one that has a tortoise and a planet Earth on the back. So you can always join and friend me, and I'll put you in that group as well. So that's another possibility. Look, one link on the South Australian site was the Royal Adelaide Show. Yeah. And I'll let you play with Facebook for a minute.
John, my problem is I already with this group, but I don't get any of them. I just got like. Is that the one you're talking about?
That's semester 1.
Right there.
So you joined that one.
This is the
That
one I
you
joined.
were seeing earlier. Right? There hasn't been a lot of posting. There hasn't been a lot of posting because it is a small number. That's why it's good to get more people in,
Yeah.
because then we'll get more posting. Yeah. Okay, I'll let you do your Facebook in a minute because just time-wise. I'm going to grab your computer. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hopefully we get something happen.
We got nothing.
Nothing again. Right, alright. Okay, have a look at the screen quickly and Royal Adelaide Show. Okay, we're talking about going places in Adelaide. One of the main events coming up is the Royal Adelaide Show. Some of you might have been. If you haven't, probably worth going to. There's a lot of local culture there. What I would do with this sort of thing is go to the traditional handcraft areas, the cake making. Basically, what is the Royal Adelaide Show? It evolved, like most shows, out of agricultural people, farmers coming into the city, and they show off their best cows or the best bull or whatever, you know, and something wins a prize, so that means they can sell that or rent that bull out to, you know, farmers, and they get more money. So there's a whole kind of economic reason. So what happens is basically that the foundation of it is country people coming to the city. Now, like in any culture, if you go to any country, where do you find traditional culture? You go out, don't you? You go out of the city to the countryside. And that's where you sort of see the roots of a culture, because things are changing slower out there and things are preserved. So what you've got here is an opportunity. I'm just thinking in terms of cultural transition. What you've got here is here's the countryside coming to you. You don't necessarily have to go out and find it, you know. And it's coming to you in a very concentrated form. So you're seeing the dressmaking, the decorating, the cake making, you know, the shearing, and just now, you know, even just if we went and looked in a shearing shed, and I've mentioned things like the fact that the Labor Party grew out of the shearers' strikes, the big shearers' strikes of the 1890s. Now, if in your native country there's not a lot of shearing, or, you know, no doubt it takes a different form here, just because of the geographical and technological circumstances, you know, go into a shearing shed and have a look at what's going on, the instruments, try to name them, you know. That's kind of interesting language task. You're going to see all these little different areas of the subculture. There's not one culture in the country, there's lots of little subcultures, aren't there? Shearers' subcultures and all the names around that and the techniques, cake making, etc. You know, now, if you went into the shearing shed and you had a look, you're going to come out with a whole lot of images, so that when you do read Australian history, you've got a whole lot of real experiences to sort of connect with. You know, the best kind of learning is getting your hands on things, isn't it, and experiencing stuff. So what I would suggest is go there. If you go there with that frame of mind, like as a kind of serious cultural activity where you're trying to collect that, especially rural culture, and look kind of like looking in a telescope back into the past, because you're contacting that rural subculture. You know, cake making. What do the ladies, what sort of symbols do they put on the cakes? When they do their tapestry like decorating with cloth, what are the drawings they make? How do they represent Aboriginal people? Now, what you'll find often, a lot of that stuff, very stereotyped, very quite racist sort of imagery from the 1950s. Some of that hasn't died away. Now, if you look at it with those kind of eyes, gee, you learn quite a lot about how people, you know, you can kind of see back into the white Australia policy of Australia, and some of those images are still there today. Do you see the point? It's like looking, you know, looking with a different hat on, or looking with different spectacles, as it were. And, you know, the images of kookaburras and koalas and the famous names of products and so on from the past, all of these are just lots of little micro lessons in slowly building a knowledge of the culture of daily life, which is often referred to. And I think you can go again and again to something like this, and sure, you can go on the rides and have a lot of fun as well, you know. Culturally, probably, yeah, even then there'll be bits and pieces you can pick up, but not as much as if you go to those, especially the very country-based exhibitions in there, for the reasons I've outlined. But again, I think approach anything like that, you know. Go down to the port second-hand market on the weekend. There's that big shed, and it's full of second-hand material. Now, in second-hand stuff that's sort of 50, 60, 80 years old, there's the history, isn't it, of how Australians lived, the toys they played with, the books they read, the art they drew, you know. And by just digging around and exploring and having talks with those people, they all love to talk, you just learn lots of little bits and pieces. Slowly you build this knowledge about the new environment. I think all of this are ways of, on that experiential level, you know. We've got the ABC, and that's a really important cultural resource to be learning about history and current events and so on, but this is just another way to kind of, another mode, another channel, and kind of have fun at the same time. So I think, you know, if you think about the culture, as I said, we've got speaking, listening, reading, writing, and we've got culture. It's another project that feeds into all of these things, doesn't it? Reading, listening, obviously, even speaking with people, and make cultural references. Writing, yeah. If you want to write effectively and make a joke or make a cultural reference, it enriches your writing as well. So to get, as I've said before, to get sort of level 4 to 5, to get that really native-like element in your language, it is more and more intimately connected with cultural understanding. And you need to have that going as a project as much as all of these others. So that's kind of what we're exploring today, these methods, these ways of doing it. I hope some of these resources are pretty useful for you. I reckon that's probably it for the cultural side of things. I hope some of those ideas and tips will help you in your journey. One thing I'd like to do is, next term, late next term, I haven't figured out a date yet, but based on what the sort of things you're discovering today about groups or activities or whatever, we'll have a report back probably about week 7 or so. What groups did you join? What activities did you go and engage in? What volunteer groups did you try out? Now, if all of them failed, okay, all of them failed. Just tell us about, the great failures. But no doubt something in there will succeed. My point is that there's several dozen hours now, maybe more, that you now need to spend between, week 7 now, aren't we? So basically you've got a term to do that, and you've got the holidays, you've got a couple of weeks of holidays. That might be going out to Mannum to the river and exploring the museums there, or going down to Goolwa and learning a bit more about the Nurrungiri Aboriginal people there, or whatever. Just keep a little list. And it's kind of, my point of this is for a term, kind of wear that hat, that cultural hat, and be thinking, how can I be developing and expanding my cultural knowledge? And keep a little list of those things. And by week 7, because we're in week 7 now, aren't we? We'll have a report back from people. And hopefully, if we have little quick presentations on it, just totally informal, but you might take some pictures, put them up on a PowerPoint, and I think by people exchanging the positives, you think, oh, that was a cool place, I'm going to go there. Well, that's a really good group, I think I'll join that, whatever. So you'll probably get tips and suggestions from other people. Right? Okay, so keep using the resources we've explored today to do that, and especially figure out things for the holidays coming up in the next few weeks. Plan for your holiday, great time of year for travelling around the country, probably about the best. It would be the best. South Australia looks the best in the September-October holidays. Too hot in the middle of the year to go north. Crappy in winter time, isn't it? March is not bad. March is okay, but dry. The country's very dry, brown, all the grass has gone brown. So countryside looks the best. The best time for travelling out to country places, definitely these holidays that are coming up. So plan a couple of day trips or longer, and we'll be really interested to hear what you find. Okay, let's have a break. And we'll come back at 10 past. And make sure, in the break, if you haven't already, we're going to swap essay drafts. All right, so however far you got with your essay, we're going to just spread out around the room, read one other person's essay for a quarter of an hour, then come back together with that person and have a real discussion about what you thought of it. That won't be straight after the break. I just want to show you something about PowerPoint, but we'll have a good hour where you have that exchange, all right? So make sure you have a printed hard copy by the time we come back at 10 past 11, okay? See you then.